Supergirl's history doesn't really begin with Supergirl as we know her. Long before Cara Zarel made her first appearance, DC tried out a number of female Superman or Superboy equivalents. Goaded no doubt by the success of Captain Marvel's female equivalent Mary Marvel at Fawcett, DC decided to test the waters and ended up doing that with several one-shot stories over the years. The first of the Supergirl comic tryouts was in May of 1943 with Action Comics number 60. Lois Lane, in the hospital after being hit by a truck, dreams that she has received a blood transfusion from Superman. In the dream, she is suddenly gifted with superpowers thanks to the Man of Steel's blood coursing through her veins. She takes the identity of Superwoman, complete with a modified Superman-style costume with a skirt added over the leggings and no sleeves. True to the times, she declares, "There, all set for high adventure, excitement, and romance," as Superwoman. In the dream, Lois as Superwoman has to rescue Superman from the evil Dr. Scowl, who has somehow captured him. She does so successfully, but then wakes up to find it was just a dream, and that Superman has in fact saved her life, finding the one surgeon who could save her. Written by Jerry Siegel and penciled by George Roussos, this issue could be said to typify the sexism that was endemic in Golden Age comics, but Lois wasn't through. Several more times over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, notably in Action Comics number 156 in 1951, Lois would be temporarily granted superpowers and become something like a female version of the Man of Steel, but none ever stuck. In Superboy number 78, published in November 1959 under the story entitled Claire Kent alias Super Sister, Superboy saves the life of an alien woman named Sharla, who turns Superboy into a girl in retaliation for his disparaging thoughts about women drivers, which she picked up telepathically. In Smallville, Clark claims to be Claire Kent, an out-of-town relative who is staying with the Kents. When in costume, he appears as Superboy's sister, Super Sister, and claims the two have exchanged places. Once Superboy has learned his lesson about feeling more respect for women, Sharla reveals the episode to be a dream, which he projected into Superboy's mind. In Superman number 123, published in August 1958, Jimmy Olsen uses a magic totem to wish a Supergirl into existence as a companion and aid to Superman. However, the two frequently get in each other's way until she is fatally injured, protecting Superman from a kryptonite meteor. At her insistence, Jimmy wishes the dying girl out of existence. DC used this story to gauge public response to the concept of a completely new super-powered female counterpart to Superman. The KaraZor-El version of Supergirl finally arrived in Action Comics 252 in May of 1959. Otto Binder wrote and Al Plastino illustrated her debut story, in which Kara was born and raised in Argo City, which is unnamed until later issues, a fragment of Krypton that survived destruction when the city is doomed by a meteor shower. Kara is sent to Earth by her parents to be raised by her cousin Kal-El, known as Superman. Supergirl adopted the secret identity of an orphan, Linda Lee, and made Midvale Orphanage her home. Supergirl promised Superman that she would keep her existence on Earth a secret so that he may use her as a secret weapon, but that didn't stop Supergirl from exploring her new powers covertly. A different tryout happened in Superboy number 5 in late 1949. In this issue, teenage Clark Kent is smitten with teenage Queen Lucy of the fictional Latin American nation Borgonia. She has been spirited to America by her guardian to keep her safe from the influence of an evil duke who wants to influence her and seize power of Borgonia. She is hidden in Smallville and masquerades as a normal American teen, but her exceptional athletic ability makes her stand out. Young Clark befriends her and she appears with him at public events, performing feats of athletic skill under the name Supergirl. Lucy has no superpowers per se, except the power to beguile the adolescent Clark. He is thoroughly smitten at one point, saying, "What a girl, she's strong and smart and brave. She was willing to die in order to save my life. Gosh, I've never known a girl like her." Of course, there is trouble and intrigue, and Lucy is kidnapped and brought back to Borgonia in an iron mask. After Superboy rescues her from their trap and dispatches the evil Duke, they both realize that she must remain in Borgonia to rule. Her people need her. The most bizarre of the tryouts has to be Superboy number 78 from January of 1960. In it, Superboy saves a spacecraft piloted by a female alien named Shala. She is grateful for the rescue, but recoils from Superboy's undisguised male chauvinism when he insults her driving. She retaliates by seemingly turning Clark into a girl, and he goes back to Smallville, claiming to be Claire Kent, Clark's heretofore unknown sister. The plot thickens. Otto Binder had also created Mary Marvel, Captain Marvel's sister and female spin-off. Like Supergirl, Mary Marvel was a teenage female version of an adult male superhero, wearing a costume that was identical to the other characters other than substituting a short skirt for tight trousers. Reaction to Supergirl's first appearance was tremendous, with thousands of positive letters pouring into the DC Comics office. Cara Zarel, originally just Cara, is the last survivor of Argo City, which had survived the explosion of the planet Krypton and drifted through space. The city had been covered by a plastic dome for weather moderation devised by Zoell, the younger brother of Joel, a climatologist and engineer, the father of Superman. The dome held together a large chunk of landmass under the city as it drifted through space in the general direction of our solar system. However, the bottommost layers of bedrock were affected by the explosion of the great planet's fissionable core and underwent a slow but steady chain reaction, turning into green kryptonite. Using raw deposits and refined materials at hand, the residents of Argo City laid down a ground shield of lead foil to protect them from the developing kryptonite. Zoell was also able to fashion a makeshift propulsion system to try to accelerate the city's approach to the solar system. During the roughly 30 years Argo City traveled through space, Zoell met and married Allura, daughter of Inzi, who in turn bore their daughter Kara. But before the propulsion system was able to steer the city toward Earth, a deranged citizen named Joam, who was suffering from survival guilt, damaged the exhaust, veering Argo towards a swarm of meteors that crashed into the underside of the landmass on which it rested. As the inhabitants of the colony were being slain by the green kryptonite radiation released by meteorites, shredding the lead barrier, the adolescent Kara was sent to Earth by Zoell in a rocket to be raised by her cousin Kal-El. aka Clark Kent. To ensure she would be rescued by Superman, Kara's parents provided her with a uniform which was closely based on the one Superman wears. It later develops Zoell and Allura survived the radiation poisoning that killed everyone else in Argo City by entering the survival zone, a parallel continuum akin to the Phantom Zone. They were eventually rescued by Supergirl, and the couple decide to live in the bottle city of Kanda. Later, Kara is reunited with her parents, but their reunion becomes bittersweet as Reactron kills her father and her mother dies when New Krypton is destroyed by a trap in Reactron left by Lex Luthor, her own cousin Superman's greatest enemy on Earth, and now her greatest enemy on Earth as well. On Earth, Kara acquires powers identical to Superman's and adopts the secret identity of Linda Lee. A resident of Midvale Orphanage, she conceals her blonde hair beneath a brunette wig and functions as Supergirl only in secret, at Superman's request, until she can gain, in his opinion, sufficient control of her powers and the wisdom to properly use them. Her debut was delayed by her powers being stolen by a Kandorian villainess. During this period, she is adopted by Fred and Edna Danvers. She attends Midvale High School as Linda Lee Danvers. In later years, after graduating from Stanhope College, she changes careers several times, holding jobs in student counseling, news reporting, and acting in a TV soap opera. She also attends college in Chicago. Supergirl's secret identity is a closely held secret known only to Superman, her foster parents, and the Legion of Superheroes, of which she has been a member for a time. Like all Kryptonians, Supergirl is vulnerable to kryptonite. One way DC demonstrated the epic nature of its 12-issue limited series, Crisis on Infinite Earths, was through the deaths of important characters. In issue number 7, in October 1985, Supergirl sacrifices her life to save her cousin and the multiverse from destruction. When the Superman continuity was rebooted after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC's editors felt that Superman should be the sole survivor of Krypton, resulting in Kara being removed. Unlike a number of other characters who are shown dying in the Crisis, no one remembers Kara dying or even ever having existed. After the events of Infinite Crisis, the sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, many historical events from the multiverse are now being remembered. Donna Troy, after her rebirth and inheritance of Harbinger's orb, recalls the original Cara Zarel and her sacrifice. A post-crisis Supergirl appears in Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes, in which she is transported to the 31st century, and as a result of her disorientation, for a time believes she is dreaming her surroundings into existence, until finally convinced otherwise. Although her memories of her time with the Legion are erased before she returns to the present, the mental blocks break down upon entering the pre-crisis versions of Legionnaires, Karate Kid, and Triplicate Girl. Supergirl exhibits new powers, manifesting sunstone crystals from her body. So far, she only does so while under great stress, for example when Cassandra Cain tries to kill her. Supergirl's father implants the crystals within his daughter's body to protect her from malevolent beings. Supergirl's father implants the crystals within his daughter's body to protect her from malevolent beings from the Phantom Zone. The Zone dwellers are released when Zoell creates the Phantom Zone projector and exploits the zone as a prison. Kara's father, believing that Kal-El is the lure to the zone denizens, instructs Kara to destroy him. More recent comics has cast this plotline as the result of kryptonite poisoning from the kryptonite asteroid in which she was trapped. A recently completed storyline focused on her promise to a little boy that she would save him. She tries to make good on her promise, following different avenues searching for a cure for his cancer, and after he died, she tracks down a villain with the ability to jump through time, but decides not to use that solution, as she would just be doing the same thing as the villain. She accepts that sometimes she cannot save everyone. As part of the New 52, Kara's origins was rebooted once again. An amnesiac Kara awakens after her life pod crashes to Earth in the midst of a meteor shower. Upon emerging, she encounters humans and the extent of her powers for the first time. When encountered by Superman, she attacks him, believing him to be an imposter, as her cousin was only a baby when she last saw him, and she believed it to only have been a few days since then. After several battles with supervillains, including the World Killers, superweapons of Kryptonian design, she accepts Krypton's destruction, but continues to grapple with her grief. Her desire to restore Krypton results in her being manipulated into nearly destroying the Earth by another Kryptonian whom she falls in love with. Upon realizing his manipulation, she kills him by driving kryptonite through his heart and succumbs to kryptonite poisoning. Following her poisoning, Supergirl departs the Earth to die alone. While adrift in interstellar space, she encounters a planet under attack by monsters, and she intervenes to save them, unaware that the entire planet is a trap by Brainiac. She is captured and restrained by cyborg Superman, but after a struggle she manages to escape, returning to Earth. She is sent into the past by the Oracle alongside Superman and Superboy, where she ensures that a resurrected HL cannot save Krypton. She sacrifices the planet and her family in order to save the universe. Back on Earth, she is attacked by the assassin Lobo, and in the ensuing battle kills him, while unleashing her rage. A Red Lantern power ring finds her and attaches to her, transforming her into a Red Lantern, driven insane by rage. Kara wanders space, attacking everyone in her way until captured by several Green Lanterns and brought to Hal Jordan. Immediately recognizing a Kryptonian and unable to remove the power ring without killing her, he brings her to Guy Gardner, the leader of one of the two Red Lantern factions, who manages to restore her sanity. After some time under Guy's tutelage and protecting the galaxy as a Red Lantern, she is discharged from the Red Lantern Corps, as Guy did not want her to die needlessly against Atrocious' splinter group on her way back to Earth. Kara encounters the leader of the World Killers, who are revealed to be parasitic suits of armor. He attempts to assimilate Kara as his host, but she voluntarily subjects herself to kryptonite poisoning in order to stop him, and eventually flies into the sun and removes her power ring, killing her and removing him from her body. However, Kara is revealed to be immortal while in the sun's core, and she is restored to life without the power ring or any kryptonite poisoning, immediately destroying the World Killer. She later helps Guy Gardner against Atrocious and his Red Lantern splinter group. DC editorial wanted Superman to be the only surviving Kryptonian following DC's post-crisis reboot of the Superman continuity. As a result, when DC reintroduced Supergirl, she needed a non-Kryptonian origin. Afterward, DC Comics tried to revamp the Supergirl concept, introducing several more non-Kryptonian Supergirls, eventually the rule that Superman should be the only Kryptonian survivor was relaxed, allowing for a return of Cara Zarel as his cousin. After the post-crisis reboot of the late 1980s, Supergirl's origin was rewritten. No longer was she Superman's cousin or even Kryptonian. In Superman Volume 2, number 16, in April 1988, a new Supergirl debuted as a man-made life form made of synthetic protoplasm created by a heroic Lex Luthor of a pocket continuum. Lex implants her with Lana Lang's memories, and she can shapeshift to resemble Lana. Matrix even believes herself to be Lana for a time. She wears a mini-skirted version of Superman's costume, but does not have Superman's exact powers. While she can fly and possesses super strength like Superman, she also has psychokinetic, shape-shifting, and cloak invisibility powers. Matrix's Supergirl form resembles the pre-crisis Supergirl. She lives in Smallville with the Kents, who treated May like their own daughter. While new to Earth, Matrix begins a romance with the DC Universe's Lex Luthor until she realizes Lex's villainous nature. She leaves him to find her own way in the world, serving for a time as a member of the Teen Titans and a hero in her own right. The Matrix was a protoplasmic life form who possessed a malleable genome that enabled her to rearrange her constitution at the cellular level, allowing her to alter her appearance and physiology to anything of similar size and mass, able to replicate voices and mannerisms. Beyond shapeshifting, her central powers was telekinesis, enabling her to move large objects through sheer force of thought, as well as significantly increase her own strength and resistance to injury to levels approaching that of a Kryptonian such as her namesake mentor Superboy. Her kinetic ability also extended to levitation, supersonic flight, energy blasts, as well as the ability to rearrange molecules through touch. She also possessed the power to become invisible by blending into the background, as well as inaudible even to Superman's super hearing. Beginning in September 1996, DC published a Supergirl title written by Peter David. The 1996 Supergirl comic revamped the previous Matrix Supergirl by merging her with a human being, resulting in a new Supergirl. Many elements of the pre-crisis Supergirl were incorporated in the new ways. The woman that Matrix merges with has the same name as pre-crisis Supergirl's secret identity, Linda Danvers. The series is set in the town of Leesburg, named after Danvers' pre-adoption surname. Linda's father is named Fred Danvers, the same as pre-crisis Supergirl's adopted father. Furthermore, new versions of Dick Malvern and Comic appear as part of the supporting cast. As the series begins, Matrix sacrifices herself to save a dying Linda Danvers, and their bodies, minds, and souls merge to become an Earth-born angel, a being created when one being selflessly sacrifices him or herself to save another who is beyond saving. As the angel, Supergirl loses some of her powers, but gains others, including fiery angel wings and a shunt ability that allows her to teleport to any place she has been before. The angelic aspect of Supergirl eventually falls from grace, and Linda and Matrix are separated into two beings. Linda retains some of Supergirl's super strength and durability, and although she can no longer fly, she can leap at 1/8 of a mile. Linda acts as Supergirl for a while, attempting to locate her angelic aspect. After she is found in the Garden of Eden and freed from the demon mother, Matrix merges with a woman named Twilight and becomes the new Earth-born angel of fire. Twilight uses her healing powers to increase Linda's strength to Supergirl's level and restores her powers of flight and telekinesis. In Supergirl number 75 in December 2002, detoured on her way to Earth, Cara Zoell, the pre-crisis Supergirl, arrives in post-crisis Leesburg. After learning that Kara is destined to die, Linda travels to the pre-crisis universe in her place, where she marries Superman and gives birth to a daughter named Ariella. With the stipulation that her daughter be the exemption in the eradication of her alternate life, Linda ultimately allows history to unfold as it should have, with Kara assuming her rightful but tragic place in the time stream. However, finding no assurance that Ariella survived the restoration of post-crisis history, a dejected Linda relinquishes the role of Supergirl, sends a farewell note to Superman, and leaves for points unknown. Peter David's creator-owned series Fallen Angel, published by DC Comics, features a character, Lee, who is similar to Linda and explores the same themes as his Supergirl series. Prior to Fallen Angel moving to another company, Lee was written in a manner such that she could have been Linda. Though David remained coy as to whether the two characters were one and the same, during the DC run of the title, after it moved to IDW, David revealed Lee's origin, which clearly showed that Lee was not Danvers. However, Fallen Angel number 14 introduced Lynn, who was said to be Lee's predecessor as the guardian of Betty Noir. Lynn had recently escaped limbo, an apparent metaphor for what happened to Danvers after the cancellation of Supergirl. David wrote in his December 13th, 2006 blog entry, "Any fans of my run on Supergirl, particularly those who are tortured because Linda Danvers was consigned to oblivion in the DCU, must pick up Fallen Angel number 14 and number 15 when they come out next year." However, since David could not explicitly claim that a character owned by DC was the same as the character he owned, he stated, "Can I say this is Linda Danvers? Of course I can't. However, it's pretty freaking obvious that it is." A Supergirl named Zoell appeared in 2003's Superman, the 10-cent adventure number 1, claiming to be the future daughter of Superman and Lois Lane. Although she has super strength, speed, and hearing like Superman, she can only leap great distances. She also possesses the ability to fire blasts of red solar energy. Her alter ego is a street person named Mia. She is later found to be a human girl who was altered by Brainiac on a genetic level to appear Kryptonian. She dies thwarting a plot involving Brainiac. In Superman Volume 2, number 200, implies that when the timeline realigned itself, Zoell was erased from existence. Within mainstream continuity, several characters have claimed the mantle of Supergirl. Due to DC Comics' multiverse system of alternative realities, continuity reboots, and stories involving time travel, a number of variant iterations of her character exist in various alternative universes. Alternative versions of Supergirl have been featured in various DC comic publications, including the Elseworlds imprint. Supergirl was originally introduced in Action Comics number 252 as the cousin of the publisher's flagship hero, Superman, in the story The Supergirl from Krypton. In most depictions, she is an alien from the planet Krypton, possessing a multitude of superhuman abilities derived from the rays of a yellow sun. Other mainstream characters have taken the name Supergirl over the years, with decidedly non-extraterrestrial origins. Several different versions of Supergirl have appeared in continuity. Supergirl, Cara Zarel. The modern depiction of Supergirl, this character is a slight reimagining of the traditional Supergirl character, who is Superman's cousin from Krypton. Reintroduced into continuity in 2004's Superman and Batman series, this character represents both the original Silver Age and most recent Modern Age interpretations of Supergirl. Although the pre- and post-crisis Kara was regarded as separate characters within the fictional DC universe. Power Girl. Not officially called Supergirl, an alternative version of Cara Zarel from the parallel world of Earth 2. She is introduced by Jerry Conway in All-Star Comics number 58 in 1976 as the cousin of Earth 2 Superman Kal-El, a character introduced in Justice League of America number 73 in 1969. Intended to resemble the Golden Age Superman published in Action Comics number 1 in 1932, Power Girl is a survivor of the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, in which all other versions of Supergirl, including Earth 1's Cara Zarel, were wiped from history. Following the crisis, Power Girl was believed to be an Atlantean. She made her home on the unified Earth and joined the Justice Society of America. Years later, in 2005-2006 Infinite Crisis, she discovered her Earth 2 Kryptonian heritage after years of growing doubt about her alleged Atlantean origins. She is depicted as an older, more mature, muscular and buxom version of the Supergirl character, with shorter hair and a more assertive personality. Supergirl Matrix. A protoplasmic life form based on the DNA of Lana Lang, May was created by a heroic pocket universe Lex Luthor to be his world's hero, basing her physiology on their world's Superboy, who had been the only superhero on the planet but had disappeared. After her pocket universe was destroyed, Supergirl migrated to the larger universe, where she operated as a regularly published superhero between 1988 and 1996. In addition to great strength, durability, and flight, Matrix also possessed the powers of cloaking, shapeshifting, and telekinesis. Created by John Byrne in his post-crisis The Man of Steel reboot of Superman, Matrix was the first Supergirl according to current continuity. Supergirl, Linda Danvers. When Matrix sacrificed herself to save the life of a dying Linda Danvers, a young woman trapped in an illicit life of crime. The two were reborn as one, an Earth-born angel with near-Kryptonian powers and the ability to change between the appearances of plain brunette Linda Danvers and the tall, blonde and strong Supergirl, Zoell. This Supergirl was at first alleged to be the daughter of Superman from the future, though it was later revealed that while she had Kryptonian powers and abilities, she was primarily human. It came to pass she was a creation of Superman's villain Brainiac, who had biologically altered a human victim as part of a complex scheme. To prevent himself from becoming Brainiac's Trojan horse, Zoell sacrificed her own life. Following Mark Waid's 2003 Superman Birthright reboot, the character is no longer in continuity. Introduced in 2003 by Steven Seagal and Scott McDaniel, Supergirl Ariella Kent. Supergirl of the 853rd century, featured in the DC 1 million event, later revealed to be the daughter of Linda Danvers and a Silver Age-style Superman from the Many Happy Returns story arc. Created by Peter David, this particular Supergirl is vastly powerful. In her debut story, KaraZor-El is the last survivor of Argo City. Although Argo, which had survived the explosion of the planet, drifted through space as a self-sustaining environment, the soil of the colony eventually turned into kryptonite. And though Kara's father, Zoell, placed lead sheeting above the ground to protect the citizens from radiation, meteorites pierced the sheeting and the Kryptonians died of radiation poisoning. In Supergirl's subsequent backup feature in Action Comics drawn by artist Jim Mooney, for 10 years until 1968, Supergirl adopts the identity of Linda Lee, an orphan at Midvale Orphanage, presided over by headmistress Miss Hart. She disguises herself by hiding her blonde hair beneath a brunette wig. Supergirl interacts with humans on a person-to-person basis, performing good deeds and saving the world by helping one person at a time, and she also devises clever schemes as Superman's secret weapon, saving him many times and avoiding adoption before Superman can introduce her publicly. While temporarily powerless due to the scheming of Kandorian scientist Lesla La, who is out to supplant her life on Earth, Linda allows herself to be adopted by engineer and rocket scientist Fred Danvers and his wife Edna. In time, she reveals her secret identity to her adoptive parents. On the same day, her cousin, Superman, finally introduces her to the world. In the finale of then DC's longest playing series ever, 8 chapters, aptly called The World's Greatest Heroine. When frequent dreams about her parents being alive turn out to be real, she builds a machine aided by her engineer father's talent and brings them back alive from the survival zone, where they had both transported during Argo City's final moments. Zoell and Allura eventually end up living in Kandor, and when the city in the bottle is enlarged, they both go to live in New Krypton, where they have the sad duty of receiving her mortal remains after crisis for burial. Graduating from high school in 1965, Linda Lee goes to college on a scholarship and stays in Stanhope College until she graduates in 1971. During this era, she is helped by her pet cat Streaky, a superhero horse pet Comet, and befriends Lena Thorell, who had first appeared in the Lois Lane series. Cara is also a member of the Legion of Superheroes, where she becomes close to Brainiac 5. In addition, Linda has boyfriends from the orphanage, Dick Malvern, and from Atlantis, Gerald the Merboy. In 1967, Supergirl meets Batgirl for the first time in World's Comics. Developing a strong friendship, the two characters teamed up many times again, as in Superman Family number 171 or Adventure 381. In 1969, Supergirl left Action Comics and became a featured character in Adventure Comics beginning with issue 381 in June 1969. During the 1970s, Supergirl's costume changed frequently, as did her career in her civilian life. After a long-time Superman family editor Mort Weisinger retired in 1971, the character underwent revitalization under editor Joe Orlando, wearing a series of new outfits. Leaving her adopted foster home with the Danvers family, Linda goes on to San Francisco, where she works for KSF TV as a camera operator and develops a crush on her boss, Jeffrey Anderson. These stories introduced Supergirl's most memorable villain from this period, Lex Luthor's niece, Nastalthia, or Nasty. Nasty had made 2 appearances towards the end of Linda's college years, then pursued her to KSF TV, trying to secure proof of her dual identity. Supergirl starred in her first solo eponymous monthly series beginning in 1972 until October 1974. When her monthly title merged with Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen to produce a new title, then highest DC selling series called The Superman Family, where she eventually became the steady lead story. Linda worked as a student advisor at New Athens Experimental School before leaving for New York to follow a career in acting with daytime soap Secret Hearts. In 1982, Supergirl received a second monthly solo series titled The Daring New Adventures of Supergirl, relocating the character to Chicago as Linda became a mature student of psychology, industry legend, and former DC publisher Carmine Infantino provided the pencil art. With issue number 13, the title was revamped with a new costume design sporting a red headband, and the title shortened to just Supergirl. The series ran until sudden cancellation in 1984, only 2 months before the character's debut in a big-budget Hollywood film starring Helen Slater. In The Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985, the greatest heroes from Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 4, Earth X, and Earth X join forces in order to defeat the Anti-Monitor. When Superman comes face to face with the Anti-Monitor and is knocked unconscious, Supergirl rushes to save him before he is killed. She is able to fight him off long enough for Dr. Light to carry her cousin to a safe distance, but is killed by the Anti-Monitor. A public memorial service for Supergirl takes place in Chicago, where Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, delivers the eulogy. In her remarks, she states, "Kara is a hero, she will not be forgotten. Superman then gives his late cousin burial by taking her corpse to New Krypton, to Zoell and Allura. A Superman issue the next month reveals that Kara had experienced a premonition about her own passing. However, when the universe is rebooted, the timeline is altered, Cara Zarel, and all memory of her is erased from existence. After these events, the soul of Cara Zarel made another appearance in continuity 3 years later in a story titled Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot? In Christmas with the Superheroes, number 2, 1989. Within the story, Boston Deadman Brand tries to feel the warmth of Christmas by possessing revelers' bodies. Feeling guilty upon the realization that he has been stealing others' Christmases, he flies off, feeling sorry for himself for being denied a reward after a year of helping people. A warmly dressed blonde woman approaches Brand, startling him. Somehow, seeing the normally invisible Brand, she converses with him, reminding him, "We don't do it for the glory. We don't do it for the recognition. We do it because it needs to be done, because if we don't, no one else will. And we do it even if no one knows we've done it, even if no one knows we exist, even if no one remembers we ever existed." She reminds Brand that even though he is dead, he is still human, and he should rejoice because it means his spirit is still alive. As the woman leaves, Brand asks her who she is, to which she replies, "My name is Kara, though I doubt that will mean anything to you." The story was written by Alan Brennett and penciled by Dick Gardino, is dedicated to Otto Binder and Jim Mooney, adding, "We still remember." Finally, the soul of Cara Zarel appeared twice during Peter David's run, specifically in issues number 48 and number 49, when she appears before defeated and imprisoned then Supergirl Linda Danvers from Earth, and comforts her. Linda acknowledges she has been helped 3 times by her phantom friend, and when she asks her name, she is told by the smiling figure, "I have gone by many names, but the one I am most fond of is Kara." In 2004, Jeff Loeb reintroduced Cara Zoell into post-Zero Hour Birthright timeline continuity during a storyline in the series Superman and Batman. She is the biological cousin of Superman, and although chronologically older than him, the ship in which she traveled to Earth was caught in a large green kryptonite meteor which held her in a state of suspended animation for much of the journey, making her have the appearance of a 16-year-old girl. Still, Supergirl sometimes saw Superman as a child, due to last carrying him as a baby. DC Comics relaunched the Supergirl, the first story arc of which was written by Loeb, showcases Supergirl on a journey of self-discovery. Along her journey, she encounters Power Girl, KaraZor-El's counterpart from another universe, the Teen Titans, the Outsiders, the Justice League of America, and arch-villain Lex Luthor. During the company-wide crossover series Infinite Crisis, a sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, Supergirl is transported to the 31st century, where she is revered as a member of the Superman family and joins the Legion of Superheroes. DC Comics renamed the monthly series Legion of Superheroes to Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes, beginning with issue number 16 in the limited series 52, which chronicles the events that took place during the missing year after the end of Infinite Crisis. Donna Troy recalls the original Cara Zarel and her sacrifice to save the universe. Supergirl returns to the 21st century during the course of 52, after briefly filling in a temporary depowered Superman as guardian of Metropolis. She assumes the identity of Flamebird to fight crime in the bottle city of Kandor, with Power Girl as Nightwing in Greg Rucka's arc Supergirl Kandor. In 2007, Supergirl appeared in the mini-series Amazon's Attack. That same year, she joined the Teen Titans for 5 issues. Conversations with other heroes who maintain secret identities lead Cara to the conclusion that she needs to make a deeper connection with human beings. She accepts Lana Lang's proposal to present her to the Daily Planet staff as Linda Lang, Lana's teenage niece. In 2008-2009 New Krypton story arc, in which Superman discovers and frees the real Kandor and a large number of its citizens, Supergirl is reunited with her father, Zoell, and mother, Allura. Though Zoell is killed by the villain Reactron, when a planet is formed that the Kryptonians call New Krypton, Cara is torn between her life on Earth and her obligations to her mother, eventually joining the New Krypton Science Guild. In this continuity, Kara's ship lands in Smallville, Kansas, but hurtles through the Earth and emerges in Siberia. Cara has no memory of the destruction of Krypton and believes it's only 3 days since her spacecraft was launched. She learns the truth about Krypton's destruction from Superman, and later journeys through a wormhole to Argo City, which she finds in orbit around a blue sun. She finds the city in ruins, with no explanation of how it met that fate, and is attacked by a female world killer named Rain, before the city plummets into the sun. When Rain and her fellow world killer plan to enslave the Earth, Supergirl returns there to defeat them and thus adopts Earth as her new home. After several battles with supervillains, including the World Killers, super weapons of Kryptonian design, she accepts Krypton's destruction, but continues to grapple with her grief. Her desire to restore Krypton results in her being manipulated into nearly destroying the Earth by another Kryptonian whom she falls in love with. Upon realizing his manipulation, she kills him by driving kryptonite to his heart and succumbs to kryptonite poisoning. Back on Earth, she encounters the assassin Lobo, initially eager for a peaceful resolution, seeing a kind of kinship with him in their both being lone survivors of their respective worlds. Kara's encounter with the Zarnian would reveal deep mental wounds, resulting in the unleashing of her rage and transformation into a Red Lantern. Driven insane by rage, Cara wanders space, attacking everyone in her way, until captured by several Green Lanterns and brought to Hal Jordan. During the Convergence story arc, the original Cara Zarel, who had sacrificed her life during Crisis on Infinite Earths, makes an appearance on the amalgamated planet of Telos. At the end of the saga, she volunteers herself to once again fight the Anti-Monitor, but this time with the help of her timeline's Barry Allen, the pre-Flashpoint Superman. In tow with his pregnant wife Lois Lane and a repentant Parallax, the Zero-Hour Al Jordan vows to defeat him for the sake of the multiverse's continued existence. Without it being seen, those left on Telos discover the group was successful, and all previous timelines, with the mysterious exception of the pre-Flashpoint, pre-New 52 DC universe from DC history, had been re-established, though the fate of the original Cara Zarel and her fellows went unmentioned. A few more details of the battle against the Anti-Monitor are later revealed during the New 52 comic miniseries. After the defeat of Anti-Monitor, the pre-New 52 Clark and Lois decide to start a new life in the closest universe they can find, mysteriously yet unable to see their old universe even though the rest of the multiverse have been restored, while pre-crisis KaraZor-El with her contemporary Barry Allen and Zero-Hour Parallax decide to find their place in the universe and go off to do so. Her fate as of that story arc is yet to be revealed. After the events that led to the death of the New 52 Superman, 16-year-old Cara lives in National City with her adoptive parents, DEO agents Jeremiah and Eliza Danvers, where she attends high school and works with the agency as led by Cameron Chase. As part of her civilian identity, Cara receives special glasses that darken her blonde hair when posing as Cara Danvers. Cara also goes on an internship at Cat Grant's Catco alongside Ben Ruppel, whom she befriends. In her opening arc, The Reign of the Cyborg Superman, Cara discovers that the cyborg Zoell, whom she had battled in her New 52 title, is still active and has rebuilt other Kryptonians, her mother Alora included, planning to take over Earth. Supergirl defeats them but vows to help her father regardless of his actions. After National City discovers Supergirl has kept Zoell's living status a secret, they become untrustful of her. Director Bonds takes advantage of the heroine's unpopularity and, after taking control of the DEO, sends villains as an attempt to bring Cara down. She defeats all of them and regains trust from National City with Ben's help as he shares a touching story on Catco's app telling the citizens how Supergirl helped Lee Serrano, a young non-binary teenager, out of trouble.